Audio Jungle.
Hey friends, welcome back to another video. So we're totally done installing our DC and our DHCP on our first VM. So that's all out of the way now, and today we're going to be working on our backup node, so our second VM. And we're going to be doing pretty much the same thing that we did in the last video, but we're going to be hooking them up together, so they're going to be replicating each other, so that if one fails, the other one will keep going. So that's what we're going to do today. So let's hop on over to our workstation and let's get started. Alright friends, and welcome back to the computer here at the workstation. And today we're gonna be installing a few features on our second node. And this is my second node right here. We got both our nodes started up right here, so I'm going to log in. And what we will be installing on our second node, we will be installing it on our VM that we created earlier, and this is this VM right here. And we're gonna actually go into the settings of our VM and make sure that everything is okay. See the processors here? I want to turn this up to 4 processors for now, just to make it faster while we're installing things. I want to change this to always right here. And I think no network adapter has been configured, so we need to make it the external network adapter and hit apply. And okay, and then we're gonna go ahead and start this VM. And this VM, yeah, it's gonna start it's gonna start the Windows Server version that we downloaded there. So I think I went ahead and already installed Windows on this VM actually, to save a little bit of time for us. So it should boot up right into Windows Server. Alright, so our second DC looks like it's booted up right here. So we're going to go ahead and log in. And I'm actually gonna jump over to our first node here, and I want to go into our DHCP config, which is going to be in our DC01. So actually DC01 is right here at 192.168.1.30, and with my remote desktop manager I could just jump right over to there. There we go, DC01. So I want to open my DHCP server because I want to assign our second DC a static IP, or reserve an IP on our DHCP server. So we'll wait for this to load up here. And as we can see, our second server here has an IP address of, I guess I could just run come on now, run cmd IP config, so .108, and we want it to be .31, and it got the DNS, the IP from our DHCP server, which is home.com, so that's good. So we're gonna go over here and we're gonna manage our DHCP server like this. DHCP manager, make this bigger, and we can see in our IPs, in our scope, in our IP leases, what did we say it was? DC02 was .108, so it's this one right here. So I'm going to add this one to reservations. Then I'm going to go in reservations. This is kind of stupid how you got to do it like this. But, and I'm going to find the one that we just added. We didn't name it yet, so we're going to have to name it. And I'm going to click on properties here and copy the MAC address. Then I'm going to delete this reservation. and make a new reservation and call this one dc02.home.com, and I want it to be the IP address of .31, and the MAC address is the one that we copied there. Okay, add, close. Okay, so here's my reservation list that I have so far. Home server 1, home server 2, the workstation, my NAS, my free NAS, our 2 DCs, and my web server. Okay, so now we're going to go back to our second DC here, this one here, and we're going to do the initial configuration on it. So I am going to name the computer DC02. I'm going to change it to DC02, and I'm actually, now that we're getting DHCP from our DHCP server, we can join the domain. So we're going to start joining our domain of home.com, and we're going to get all the computers to join this domain eventually here. So home.com, and our password administrator, and the password. Welcome to home.com. It's going to ask us to restart the computer, but we're not going to do that right now. We're going to restart it a little bit later because I want to enable some stuff here. So remote desktop, I'm going to enable that. And I am going to change our time zone. And the time. Okay. And now I will restart this DC. Okay, our second DC has restarted. And we will log on. And we want to log on with the other user because we want to log on onto our home domain. So home. Alright, so we are logging on to our home domain. Alright, so our second DC is booting up, and we should have the IP of 192.168.1.31 now. So I'm going to add a new session here in my remote desktop manager here. And 192.168.1.31. And that's the IP, but since we are part of the domain, actually my workstation here is not part of the domain yet, so I can't do that yet. So we'll just go by the IP. Administrator. And we will try to log on. We are logging on. Okay, so we are on to our second DC through our remote desktop manager here. Alright, so we will start configuring roles on this server. If I'm right, the server is all set up. Yes. Yes, it is. So we will start configuring roles on this server. So we'll manage this, and then we'll go add roles and features. Next, select the one in this pool, which is, yeah, the only one. Next, and we will add the active domain services. And next, and hit next, and hit next. Next. Restart the server if necessary, and install. And we'll wait for this installation to finish, and then we will configure that, and then we'll move on to our DHCP server. Okay, looks like the installation is done, so we're going to close this, and we're going to start configuring RDC. So we're going to promote this server to a domain controller. And then we're going to add a domain controller to an existing domain. So right there, that's what the one we want. And this is the domain that we want. It's home.com. It's already selected. Hit next, and we're going to type in our password. And hit next. Next. Replicate from any domain controller is okay in our small environment. Next. These folders are fine. Next. Next. It's going to check the prerequisites, do a few checks, say that it's okay to go. Hit install. And it's going to go ahead and install this domain controller as a backup or whatever. They're going to work together. So it's going to copy whatever you have for users and computers from the first domain controller over to the second domain controller, and they're going to work together. And DNS is going to know this too, so your DNSs are going to be updated appropriately. So your two servers are going to be serving DNS if needed. Yeah, it's all going to be set up correctly. Okay, it looks like our second domain controller needed to restart, so it restarted, and we're going to go ahead and log on already. Actually, I'm going to use my desktop manager thing here to log on. Here we go, logging on. And our second domain controller should be active. All right. Should be loading up right away here. Alright, it looks like the Active Directory services have turned on, and DNS as well, on our second domain controller, VM. So we are now going to continue and add the next role, which is going to be our DHCP backup. This is our backup node, so this is our second one. Second, and DHCP server right there. Add. No static. Yeah, it is static though, because we have a DHCP reservation set up. Next, restart the server if needed. Install. This will install. Now, while this is doing, I want to mention that we should get all of our computers to actually join the domain now, so that we can do work on our computers easier. So I'm gonna get this first computer joining the domain while the other one is working away here. So we're gonna hit that button there, the work group, and change and domain and join home.com. Okay, and administrator password. And it's going to say, you're welcome to home.com. And then we're going to reboot the computer. Restart now. So, yes, our DCs will go down. This one will go down. This will keep installing. And when this is done, the other one should be just back up. And we'll get the server, our second node, actually to join the domain as well before we continue. Okay, so it looks like our first server is back on, and if we look, it should be part of the domain now. Yeah, home.com. And that's our DC, and this is our second server, and this is our second DC where we need to configure DHCP. So we're going to click on that. I'm going to hit next and use the credentials for home administrator. Yes, hit commit and then hit close. Alright, and then hit close again. And now the DHCP is configured on our second server, but what we need to do is start the replication feature. So what we're going to do, so I'm going to go to our first domain controller, launch our DHCP manager. And we're gonna right click on this one. Oh, no, right click on IP4. Right click on the scope. Yeah, there we go. Right click on the scope. Configure failover. Select the scopes available. There's only one scope. Select next. Add a partner server. So we're gonna add a server. We're gonna browse for the server, and it's called DC02. So I'm just gonna type DC and hit check names. See what it comes up with. Oh yeah, there you go. DC02. That's the one that we need. Hit OK and OK, and then hit OK. And partner node DC02. Hit next. Relationship name. Sure, that's alright. Maximum client lead time. So 1 hour is too much. So we're gonna leave all this how it is. Local server. We're gonna put it on hot standby. So that it changes only if it needs to. Role of partner is standby, and this one is going to be the active DHCP server on our main node. So the other one is standby, blah blah blah. State switchover interval, so how long it will wait before changing it over. I want it to be 5 minutes, so it's going to be 5 minutes of no DHCP before it switches over to the next one automatically. And the shared secret, we're going to have to put in a password, which will be that. I will hit next and finish. And it should complete with no problems. Failover completed successfully. Bam. So now, if this DHCP server or VM goes down for more than 5 minutes, this second DHCP server will automatically take over. We should be able to launch DHCP manager here, and I think we will see the same scope in here. Yes, so there we go. We see the same scope on the second DC that's on the first DC. As is the same one, they have copied and they're in replication. Okay, so that's today's video. We have enabled our second DC or domain controller with the Active Directory services and the DHCP services, which are replicating our first VM. So this is starting to look like some redundancy for us. And so yeah, that's the two domain controllers. And what's next? I think we're gonna actually. Well, one more thing is I need to get this computer actually joined to the domain. So this is the second node. Actually, it hasn't joined the domain yet. So we're gonna make the second node join our domain of home.com. Okay, and we will restart this third node, and that will be it for today's video. Or a second node, I mean, sorry. Okay, so the second node will be restarting, and that will be in our domain when it restarts, and after that we're gonna start doing our failover cluster. So till next time.